3. Climates of India. Kale Varshatu Prajanyah Prithvi Shashyashalini Deshiyam Deshoyam Shobharkita Brahman Pansantu Nirbhaya. May the rains be timely, may the earth be lush with vegetation. May this country be free from turmoil, may good people be fearless. Shubhashita. Figure 3.1. The big questions. First, what makes India's climate so diverse? Second, what are the monsoons? How are they formed? Third, what is the effect of climate on economy, culture and society? How can understanding the climate help us to prepare for natural disasters? What is climate change? What are its consequences? Weather, seasons and the climate. Climate is a word people use in everyday conversation, but quite often what they really mean is weather and not climate. What's the difference? Weather is what we experience every hour or day. It might be raining or there could be bright sunshine, a lot of wind, etc. The weather keeps changing. Climate, on the other hand, is the pattern of weather an area or a region experiences over a long period of time, several decades at least. This pattern varies from region to region. Before we come to the various types of climates, let us briefly stop to introduce seasons. Seasons occurs as the earth revolves around the sun. Each season lasts for a few months and recurs every year. As we know, there are several seasons in the year: spring, summer, monsoon, autumn and winter that occur in a cycle. Are seasons related to the weather or to the climate? The answer is to both. The weather changes with the season. That is, it can be dry and hot in summer months or humid and rainy during the monsoon. Further, the pattern of seasons in a region is closely connected with the climate. There are 4 main seasons across most regions of the world: spring, summer, autumn and winter. However, India receives rainfall during a specific period of the year, rainy season or monsoon along with the other 4. Figure 3.2. Traditionally, in many parts of India, the year is divided into 6 seasons or ritus: Vasant, spring; Grishma, summer; Varsha, rainy season; Sharad, autumn; Hemant, pre-winter; Shishir, winter. Specific rituals and festivals are associated with these 6 regions, such as Vasant Panchami or Sharad Purnima. If we observe the world around us, we will notice that human, plant and animal life are in rhythm with the ritus or seasons. The crops we grow, the food we eat, the clothes we wear and so on change with the season. Depending on the region, some trees and shrubs bloom with the onset of Vasant or spring. In some places, they shed their leaves or change their color as Sharad or autumn approaches, and some animals develop thick fur in the cold winter months. Let's explore which are your favorite seasons. Write a short essay explaining your reason. Discuss in group of 3 or 4 and find out whether they are specific events connected to the season in your region. Collect information about them: songs, feasts with specific type of food, practices in different seasons, etc. Document these and share your discovery with your class. Do you know which trees in your area change colors before the onset of winter. Are there trees that shed their leaves around this time? Why do you think this happens? Find out and document the local names of these trees. Usually the climate remains stable over a long period of time. However, scientists have been recording changes in the climates of the world in the recent decades. Studies show that many of these changes have been caused by human actions. Let us recapitulate. Weather is what we experience from day to day, windy, rainy, hot, dry, etc. Seasons recur every year and the weather of a place is different in every season. Climate is a long-term pattern in a particular region. There are many types of climates in the world. We will now survey the main type found in India. Types of climate in India. We have often seen how India is a land of diversity. This is equally true of its climate. In the north, the Himalayan mountains have an alpine climate with cold, snowy winters and cool summer. The word alpine comes from the Alps, a mountain range of Europe. That's probably where you will see the thickest clothing in India. Lower in the Himalayas and in many hilly areas of India, the climate is often said to be temperate, as the winters are moderately cold and the summers not too hot. That is where we find many hill stations, most frequented by people seeking relief from the heat in the plains below. In the northern plain, the climate is subtropical, with very hot summers and cold winters. This is where most of India's wheat is grown. In the west, the Thar Desert has an arid climate featuring extremely hot days, cool nights and very little rainfall. People there have had to develop unique ways to collect and save water. The western coastal strip receives heavy rainfall during monsoon months, creating a subtropical wet climate which is favorable to the growing of rice and spices. The central Deccan Plateau has a semi-arid climate with hot summers, mild winters and moderate rainfall during the rainy season. Eastern India and the southern peninsula experience a tropical climate with a mild winter and distinct wet and dry periods controlled by monsoon winds more on them soon. Note, you will understand later the meaning of the terms tropical and subtropical, which are related to two special parallels of latitude called the tropics. Factors determining the climate. What creates those different climates? There are many factors at work. Some are general ones on the scale of the planet, while others are regional or even local. Let's examine a few. A. Latitude. Let's remember, we studied about latitudes in grade 6. Do you remember that? Latitudes measure the distance from the equator, increasing as we move away from it, either northward or southward. While the climate around the equator is extremely hot, as the latitude increases, it becomes temperate and then cold or frigid. Why is this so? Places near the equator, that is, at low latitudes, are warmer, while those near the poles, high latitudes, are colder. This happens due to the angle at which the sun's rays hit a particular area at the equator. The rays are nearly perpendicular and so all their energy is focused on a smaller area of the Earth's surface. In the polar region, the rays are inclined or oblique and the energy is distributed over a large surface. Moreover, they have to pass through more of the Earth's atmosphere as the diagram shows. Figure 3.4. At the equator, exposure to the sun's ray is concentrated, but near the poles, it is dispersed over a wide area. solar radiation, which further dissipates their energy. As a result, the polar region receives less heat than the equatorial zone. We can see this in India too. Kanyakumari and the Nicobar Islands, being closest to the equator, are warm or hot almost throughout the year, whereas places in the north, such as Srinagar, are much cooler. B. Altitude. We mentioned hill station above, which are popular tourist centers because of their cooler climate. India has many, including Munnar, Theni, Udhangamandalam, Ooty, Madikeri, Mahabaleshwar, Mount Abu, Shimla, Nainital, Darjeeling, Tawang, Shillong, etc. We know they are located at a higher altitude than the plains below. But how does that explain their cooler temperature? You will later learn the full answer in your science class. To keep things simple for now, the temperature decreases as the altitude increases because we can see the picture of Darjeeling, Udha, Udhagamandalam, Ooty, Udhagamandalam, Ooty, Munnar, Shimla. Figure 3.5. First, the atmospheric pressure and therefore the air density decreases as the altitude increases. As we saw in the chapter Understanding the Weather, and as the air gets less dense, it gets cooler. The second, the sun heats the surface of the earth, and so the farther away from the surface, the less hot the air will be. The Himalayas are so high that many peaks maintain a temperature below water's freezing point, keeping them covered in snow. Let's explore Udhagamandalam, Ooty, and Coimbatore are almost at the same latitude. The range of summer temperature in Ooty is 10 to 25 degrees, while that in Coimbatore is 25 to 38 degrees. Why do you think there is such a difference in temperature between these two places? C. Proximity to the sea. Temperature in coastal areas do not vary much. The summers are not too hot and the winters are not too cold. That is because the sea acts as a moderator for the temperature. These diagrams sums up the phenomena, and your science textbook explains these further while discussing the heating and cooling of land and water in coastal regions. The result is that those regions tend to be more temperate. As you move inland from the coast, the temperature gets more extreme. Summer temperature will be higher and winter temperatures lower. For instance, Mumbai and Nagpur are located at a similar latitude, but Mumbai, being near to sea, has cooler summers around 32 degrees Celsius and milder winters around 18 degrees Celsius, while Nagpur, away from the coast, experiences up to 44 degrees Celsius in summer and about 10 degrees Celsius in winter. As you can see, Mumbai's range of temperature, that is, the difference between the maximum and the minimum, is about 14 degrees Celsius, while the range at Nagpur reaches 34 degrees Celsius. Figure 3.6. Sea heats slowly, land loses heat rapidly. Sea 18 degree cool, land 10 degree cold. Coastal region warmed by sea air. Winter. In summer, sea absorbs heat slowly, land absorbs heat quickly. So land becomes 44 degrees Celsius warmer. Sea absorbs slowly, it becomes 32 degrees Celsius cool. Coastal region cooled by sea, incoming heat from the sun. D. Wind. Wind can move masses of warmer or cooler air. States like Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh often receives wind blowing from the west. Having traveled over the deserts of Arabia to Afghanistan, They bring dry and hot air that causes severe heat waves in summer. In winter, cold winds from across the Himalaya sweep into the Himalayan foothills, resulting in cold waves. Winds affect not only temperature but also humidity and in turn precipitation. We saw dry winds coming from distant desert. In contrast, winds coming from the sea brings moisture over the land, which may result in rainfall. We will soon see the case of monsoon wind. Figure 3.7, we can see winds, cyclonic circulation. Let's remember, in your grade 6 science textbook, Curiosity, you studied the water cycle. The water from the ocean and the Earth's surface evaporate into the atmosphere as vapor and returns as rain, hail or snow. E. Topography. Finally, the topography of a region also plays an important role in determining its climate. For instance, the Himalayas and the Karakoram ranges protect to some extent the Indian topography, the totality of the physical surface features of an area. This may include mountain, hills, valleys, slope, coast, etc. The Indian subcontinent from the winds of cold desert of Central Asia. The nearly flat topography of the Thar Desert, on the other hand, has nothing to protect it from hot and dry wind. In the next section, we will see the role of Western Ghats in India's southwest monsoon. Putting it all together, the climate of any region is determined collectively by all the above factors. Describing the climate involves a description of the patterns of temperature, precipitation, rain or snowfall, occurrence of fog or mist, and wind conditions in a region over 3 decades or more. A microclimate is a climate localized in a small area, which differs from the climate in surrounding region. It has a unique pattern of temperature, humidity, precipitation, etc. in a small geographical area. Figure 3.8, Aravallis and urban heat islands. For instance, enclosed valleys and some forests have microclimates of their own. So do urban heat islands. That is, some cities have a large number of buildings and other concrete structures and very little vegetation. All this trap the heat and they are often much warmer than the surrounding region. Microclimates can influence the local flora and fauna, the crops grown, and impact human health and well-being. The monsoon. The monsoon season is central to life in India. During the monsoon months, the rivers fill up, the soil is soaked with water, crops grow, and life thrives. Strictly speaking, the word monsoon, which comes from the Arabic word mausim, meaning season, refer to seasonal winds over a large area of the Indian Ocean and surrounding regions, including Australia, Africa, and South Asia. There is a yearly pattern to the monsoon. Their mechanism is complex but based on the simple fact that land heats up or cools down faster than the ocean. Monsoons bring out the fundamental relationship between temperature, pressure, and wind movement. To put it simply, as summer begins, the Asian landmass heats up, creating a powerful low-pressure system over it. Since air always flows from high pressure to low pressure, winds are drawn from the cooler, high-pressure ocean toward the hot land. These ocean winds carry moisture that condenses over the warmer land and fall in the form of heavy monsoon rains. That is why monsoon commonly refers to the seasonal rains rather than the winds. Figure 3.9a. Summer, we can see Arabia, southwest monsoon reaches to India. B. Northeast monsoon reaches to Indian Ocean. The pattern reverses in winter when the land mass cools down more rapidly than the ocean. Now the land has a high pressure system while the ocean remains warmer with relatively low pressure. This causes the wind to blow in opposite direction from the land toward the ocean, bringing dry condition to much of Asia. Coming to India, the monsoon rains typically advance from the southern tip of India in early June, moving northward over several weeks until they cover the entire subcontinent by mid-July. It is not a smooth progression. Though the Western Ghats, remember a brief survey of topography, act as a natural barrier, the western slopes receive much rainfall while the Deccan Plateau to the east receives less and often with interruptions. This is commonly called the summer or southwest monsoon. Southwest reflecting the direction of the winds come from. As winter approaches, the winds reverse and blow from the land to the ocean, as we just saw. These are dry winds that bring cold weather to South India, but a part of them passing over the Bay of Bengal collect some moisture and bring rainfall to parts of East and South India. This is called the winter or northeast monsoon. Don't miss out. Mawsynram, located in Meghalaya, receives the highest average annual rainfall in the world, about 11,000 millimeters, which is the same as 11 meters. The monsoon have inspired many rags in both Carnatic and Hindustani classical music. Megha Malhar and Amrut Amrutha Varshini are names of a couple of them. Figure 3.10. Let's explore. Since the ability to predict the monsoon rainfall has been an important aspect of life in India, our ancestors observed nature around them carefully. They developed local traditional knowledge through their experience. This traditional knowledge is an important heritage we must preserve. For example, fishermen on the Konkan coast predict the onset of the monsoon. When fishes that normally stay underwater are seen at the surface, in parts of southern India, monsoon is said to arrive within 15 days after the golden shore tree Cassia fistula blossoms. Some communities also believe that when crows build their nest high on tree tops, it indicates less rainfall, whereas if the nests are lower, rainfall is likely to be heavy. Make a list of such local knowledge about rain, fog, snow or hail in your area. Climate and our lives. Our lives are deeply connected with the climate and dependent on it. The impact of climate is visible in local cultures, for instance, and India has many festivals associated with seasons and agriculture activities. Let's explore. Reach out to your grandparents or elders in your neighborhood. Ask them about the traditional festivals and dances they remember from their childhood and youth, especially those related to agriculture and rain. What rituals did they participate in? Then organize a cultural fest with your friend. You can showcase some of the dances, songs and activities your elders shared with you. Whether it is a dance, harvest ritual or simply a story about a prayer to rain gods, trying to bring these traditions to life for your classmates. The climate also has a direct impact on the economy. For instance, you may have heard the phrase monsoon failure, which refers, we can see some pictures of festivals, Bihu, Chhath Puja, Makar Sankranti, Baisakhi, Pongal, Away Winter Festival, Themis, Losung Festival, Gudi Padwa, Lori, Onam, to poor rainfall during the monsoon season. In such a case, The agriculture suffers. People, women generally have to walk long distance in search of water, and agriculture laborers are likely to migrate to the cities. Food, grains, vegetables, and fruits to begin with becomes costlier. Fueling inflation, industrial activities also often depends on a predictable weather and the availability of water the world over. We can easily detect such connections between the climate and socio-economic conditions. Those conditions get especially strained when climate disasters strike. Climate and disasters. India's diverse weather pattern can bring about extreme conditions such as cyclones, floods, landslides, and others. Such climate-related disasters, these events affect people's lives, disrupt agriculture, damage infrastructure, and disturb local economies. A. Cyclones. Every year, Indian coastline, especially the eastern coast, witnesses several cyclones. In past years, some of them have been highly destructive, resulting in the loss of human and animal life, damaging property and infrastructure, uprooting trees as causing soil erosion. The Indian Meteorological Department (IMD) keeps track of coming cyclones and provide information on their formation, evolution, and place of landing, etc. Don't miss out. The National Disaster Response Force (NDRF) is specially trained to respond to natural as well as human-made disasters. NDRF battalions are located at 12 different locations in India. The NDRF has played a key role in rescue and evacuation during disasters like cyclones, landslides, and floods. Figure 3.12, we can see logo of NDRF. How are cyclones formed? We saw that in some special situations, the atmospheric pressure near the sea becomes lower than the surrounding area, creating a low pressure system. This is an invitation to the air from surrounding areas to come into the low pressure area, and the air from the sea moves in, bringing with it moisture and rain. When the low pressure system is intense and the wind speeds are high, these may result in a cyclone. As winds collect moisture, they form clouds and rotate inwards towards the center of the depression. The center, which is cloudless, is called the eye of the cyclone. Think about it. What are clouds? White lumps in the sky. You might say, but what are they made of? The answer is simple. Water. But not just any water. Clouds are masses of water droplets, ice crystals, or a mixture of both that are suspended in the atmosphere. Figure 3.13 Cyclone Fanny. Wind bringing moist air from sea. Low pressure center. Cloud formation. Figure 3.14 Eye of the storm. B. Floods. A flood occurs when water overflow into normally dry land. This could be due to heavy rainfall generating huge run of water that the land cannot absorb, or due to excessive accumulation of water in bodies like rivers and lakes until the water overflows or their banks are breached. Floods occur frequently during the monsoons. States such as Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, and Assam are particularly vulnerable to floods. Let's explore. Have you seen or read about floods? Look at the physical map of India. Discuss in pairs why you think floods occur in the areas mentioned above. In the Himalaya region, on the other hand, floods occur when glacial lakes overflow. Glacial lakes form a barrier of rocks and ice to hold their water, which often comes from melting glaciers. If the glaciers melt too fast, as is increasingly the case, or if there is too much rainfall, the buildup of pressure can cause the water. We can see pictures of cyclone, landslide, forest fire, and flood conditions. Figure 3.15. To break through the barrier, this is called a glacial burst, and it often have devastating consequences for people and property. Don't miss out. In 2013, Uttarakhand experienced a sudden glacial burst caused by continuous heavy rain over several days. Many landslides followed. Areas around one of India's important sacred sites, the Kedarnath temple, were completely destroyed. Several villages were washed away in the floods, along with many roads and bridges. Altogether, about 6,000 people, many of them pilgrims, lost their lives. Many cities experiencing flooding when there is heavy rainfall. This may be due to an overburdened drainage system or poorly planned construction encroaching on the waterways and blocking the flow of water. Besides, urban surface of concrete or asphalt do not allow water to be absorbed by the earth. C. Landslide. A landslide is a sudden collapse of rock, soil, or debris, often triggered by heavy rain, earthquakes, or volcanic activity. Landslides are common in hilly and mountainous regions such as Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, and Arunachal Pradesh, as well as Western Ghats and hilly regions. These events often occur during the monsoon. In those regions, the chances of landslides have increased due to human activities such as the cutting down of forests, building infrastructure without following approved methods, and the construction of too many buildings that block the natural flow of water. D. Forest fires. Forest fires are uncontrolled fire that spread rapidly across vegetation, often fueled by dry climate conditions, droughts or high winds. Human carelessness is another frequent cause. Forest fires are common in states with large forested or grassland areas such as Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, and Chhattisgarh, as well as mountain ranges such as the Western Ghats. Apart from destroying large areas of forest, fires harm wildlife, degrade the ecosystem, spoil the air quality, and displace local communities. The consequences are therefore both environmental and economic. Let's explore. Observe figure 3.15. Describe the effect that may have on people, plants, animals, and economic life. In group of 4 or 5, identify in each of the above disasters the part of natural causes and the part of human causes. Compare your conclusions. Discuss in the same group series of preventive measures that could help avoid the above disasters. Climate change. Climate change refers to significant long-term changes in the climate. This may be on the scale of the planet or on a regional scale, and it involves shift in temperature, precipitation, and weather events. In past millennia, we can go back millions of years in fact. Natural processes drove climate change. Since the 19th century, however, climate change has been largely driven by human activities, particularly the burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, and environmentally harmful industrial practices and production and pattern of excessive or wasteful consumption. Fossil fuels, sources of energy that were formed from the remains of plants and animals that died millions of years ago and were buried deeper under layer of soil and rock or under the sea, where heat and pressure slowly turned them into coal, petroleum, oil, and natural gas. Figure 3.16. Why does the burning of fossil fuel affect the climate? In the Earth's natural carbon cycle, carbon dioxide and other gases are released gradually into the atmosphere and traps heat from the sun. These natural greenhouse effect warm Earth enough to support life. However, human activities like industry, transportation and agriculture have released enormous amount of these greenhouse gases in just a few centuries. The sudden increase traps extra heat, causing rapid global warming and disrupting the climate pattern that plants, animals, and human societies have adapted to over thousands of years. In India, rising temperatures are perceptible in many regions. Early in 2025, for instance, the country's average temperature was 1 to 3 degrees above normal, as a result of which the winter was much shorter and milder than usual. These affects not only agriculture production but also many small-scale industries. This is only one example showing how a warmer planet will present us with increasing challenges. Understanding the relationship between the causes of climate change and disaster can help us to prepare better for these challenges. It also supports the need for more environment friendly practices and building resilience and adaptation in communities. Government worldwide, including India's attempt to promote measures of climate mitigation such as cutting down on greenhouse gas emission, planting trees, boosting renewable energy and improving energy efficiency, promoting sustainable lifestyle, etc. But these often clash with the desire for economic growth and increased consumption. Resilience, the capacity to withstand or recover quickly from difficulties. Mitigation, the adoption of steps to help slow down global warming and reduce the causes of climate change. Sustainable, something which can be maintained over a long period of time. Before we move on, India's diverse climate is shaped by its geography, including mountains, desert, and plateau. Weather is short-term, seasons recur on a yearly basis, and climate reflects long-term patterns over decades. Factors such as long-term patterns over decades. Factors such as latitude, altitude, proximity to sea, wind, and topography determine the climate. Monsoons are vital for agriculture, influencing crop cycles and livelihoods. Climate is connected with cultural traditions, festivals, agriculture, and economic activity. Understanding the climate helps prepare for natural disasters like floods and cyclones. Climate change leads to extremes of weather or temperature and can have severe consequences on the natural and human world. With this, we have completed chapter